How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. Got a lot to talk about here today on the weekend. It is a very, very busy weekend in a lot of different ways. No WWE pay-per-view, but Ring of Honor is in the middle of their War of the Worlds tour. I watched the Saturday night show. There was a Friday show. There's a show tonight as well. We can talk about last night's show. If you saw it, what'd you think about it? What do you think about the Honor Club if you are a subscriber? If you're an Honor Club member, you can watch all of their shows on the road live as they take place. And that was the case last night with the War of the Worlds show. Like your thoughts on that today, as well as last night's UFC. If you saw the show, mostly looking for your thoughts on what happened in the main event, which I don't even know what to say. Amanda Nunes, Raquel Pennington. Amanda Nunes, the champion, smashing Raquel for 5 rounds, broke her nose, and after the end of the 4th round, Raquel went to her corner and said, and I quote, "I'm done." Her corner sent her out anyway. She was massacred in the 5th round. Thoughts on that, as well as the rest of the show. And of course, the big news here today. Tickets for the Young Bucks and Cody's All-In show on September 1st at the Sears Center Arena in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, sold out immediately. With all the seats open, the crowd would legitimately just top 10,000, which would be the first time in United States history where something like that happened for a true independent promotion show. And the first time in 19 years anybody but WWE sold that many tickets to a show in the U.S. I believe Jacques Rougeau has done that a few times for shows in Montreal with his own promotion. 45 minutes after tickets were put on sale, to see what was available, we checked, nothing available. One of the organizers said it sold out in 30 minutes. Are you all in? Back in a moment with more Wrestling Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. If you want to give us a call here today, 844-411-5411 is the phone number. That is 844-411-5411. Unscreened open lines, which means when you call, if you hear the show, you're next. So don't put the phone down, don't fall asleep, just listen. And when I tell you you're on the air, that's you. You're next. If you don't get through, keep calling. Eventually, hopefully, you will get through. Text messages, 425-780-7566. All of the tickets for All In gone in 30 minutes. Sold out in 30 minutes. A lot of problems. Inundated with complaints here on the front page of WrestlingObserver.com from people who tried to order tickets right away, had all kinds of problems because of the volume of orders in such a short period of time, similar to what happened with the New Japan show in Long Beach. The sellout was with almost nothing announced on the show outside several major names, the biggest being the Young Bucks and Cody, who organized and financed the show, along with Kenny Omega, Okada, and Rey Mysterio Jr. Cody will be challenging for the NWA World Heavyweight title in one of the key matches on the card. Billy Corgan was at the press conference today, noting the title would be at stake, and Cody said he would challenge. At this point, the champion is Nick Aldis. Doesn't necessarily mean that Nick Aldis will be the champion when All In takes place, but Cody will be fighting for the NWA World Heavyweight title. A couple of announcements made. The press conference closed with the news that Rey Mysterio will be wrestling on the show. It was revealed the NWA will have some involvement with it. Cody said to challenge for the NWA title. Billy Corgan appeared at the event. Cody, Tessa Blanchard, Marty Scurll, Hangman Page, and the Young Bucks also spoke. Scurll and Page did a bit where Flip Gordon was disguised as a reporter and asked about Gordon being booked for All In. After it was revealed to be him, Gordon superkicked Scurll before being put through a table by Page. All In is going to be held Sears Center Arena, Hoffman Estates, Illinois, September 1st. Tickets go on sale. Well, they did go on sale at 4 Eastern. They are now all gone. The first show to legitimately sell over 10,000 tickets in United States history for a truly independent promotion. Did you think it would happen this fast, Mike?
I did not. I did not at all. And kudos to them. I know there's been a lot of scuttlebutt immediately after a show sells out of any kind. Well, it all went to the secondary market.
Welcome to every show.
Well, and that's the thing. The reason that scalpers buy up tickets is it's a prospective buy for them. They're doing it because they think there's going to be a lot of demand. And what we have found is not only has there been a lot of demand, a lot of those tickets went into the hands of real people. Now, second row ringside, yeah, they're out there and they're going to be on the secondary market, and ticket scalpers, I'm sure, are going to have a field day with those seats. But from what it seems like as it stands right now, and a lot of other tickets could pop up on secondary markets later, there does not seem to be the amount that one would have expected, and is the initial scuttlebutt would have indicated that a lot of these seats went to ticket scalpers. No, there's a lot of real people that are going to this show that just got lucky calling up and online to get tickets. So impressive. I mean, no matter how you cut it, no matter how you want to say, well, there's a lot of big money and big organization and all that. Hey, it's not WWE. And that's the bottom line. And there's no initials attached to it. There is no ROH. There is no TNA, no WCW, no none of that stuff. It was an idea that sprouted, and it's the right place at the right time in the right environment with the right guys doing it.
Let's go to the phones. You are on the air. What is going on?
Bryan, what an amazing day for professional wrestling it is today.
It's pretty amazing.
God.
Yeah, Bryan.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you all in, Bryan?
I'm going, yeah.
I was hoping to be all in, but maybe I can still be.
Well, according to this person, I'm not sure exactly how.
You can be vicariously in.
Yeah, it's looking like this person claims only 200 tickets are available on StubHub out of 10,000.
Okay, I bet you it's more than that, but I mean...
Well, that's what this person here claims.
I mean,
so.
200 out of 10,000 still is,
Listen, any event, there's going to be tickets on StubHub. Hello?
Yeah.
Like, are we really going to try and find some way to claim that it's not impressive that these guys sold 10,000 tickets in 30 minutes?
That's what Twitter is for.
They sold 10,000 tickets in 30 minutes. Get over it. It's a gigantic success.
It is.
So that's it. That's the story. That's the story. It is funny going on Twitter and seeing all of this crazy stuff, but...
well, what do you expect?
Yeah.
Do we know what the status is of Dave's dollar? Is it going to be 4 quarters? Is it going to be a Susan B. Anthony throwback? What do we got here? Is he writing a check?
This person here says, I'm not trying to be a troll. It said, this is being billed as the biggest independent wrestling show ever. But isn't an independent wrestling show or promotion by strict definition not affiliated with the NWA? This is not the old NWA.
Of all the names, you put the not New Japan, not ROH, the NWA.
Yes.
God bless. God bless.
Person says, my all-in ticket story. I logged onto the site at exactly 3 p.m. Central. Went right into a virtual waiting room. Patiently waited for 30 minutes. Finally got a $35 seat in the lower bowl. I wanted a better seat, but at this point, any ticket seems lucky. I am all in, this fella here says.
Something tells me for years after this, 10,000 people, there's going to be 50,000 people that claim they went to this show and were actually right there. It doesn't even matter. As long as you're there, you're going to be part of that experience. And that, at the end of the day with this thing, that's all it's really going to matter. Are they going to do a second one? Could there possibly be a second one day? Hey, maybe. We'll have to see. But the reality is, I mean, as a one-shot deal, you are part of history. As cornball as that may sound, you are part of history.
This person here says, all in sold out without CM Punk or Daniel Bryan. Yep.
Was CM Punk even? I guess for some people, CM Punk was a person that could possibly be a...
Well, he's doing a signing the weekend of.
I guess,
Chicago,
but I mean...
At 1 hour tease.
But you would have thought, like, for those people that are that, like, obsessed over Punk and have wanted him to come back for the last couple of years, like, they would be in tune enough to know, like, he had a UFC fight coming up and there's some other things going on where, I don't know. The lust for CM Punk to come back, I guess, is going to be there forever.
This person says, this guy is right. It's not an independent show. Well, what is it then?
Well...
Honest to God, what is this if it's not an independent show? Is it a WWE show? Is it a New Japan show? Is it a Ring of Honor show?
This is like indie label music that's backed by massive labels and things like that and distributed.
Being the elite isn't an indie?
This is the way it is, folks. I mean, I don't know what you're looking for here. I mean, I don't. When it comes to indie, I mean, what definition from the past are you trying to apply on what indie wrestling is in 2018?
Look at these guys jumping through hoops. It is the WrestleMania of a collection of indies. And instead of selling out a stadium like WWE, they sold less than a Raw taping.
WrestleMania,
the collection of... Absolutely kidding?
a collection of indies is actually WrestleMania weekend when there's a collection of indies all getting together.
They chose a 10,000-seat stadium, and they sold it out immediately.
With a handful, I mean, these are promoted people who are bringing in money guys to help them put on a show. I mean,
there's some bitter people out there. I don't even know why.
Anything to hammer on this show, this is what you're going to hammer?
You should all be overjoyed that this happened. Do you understand me? If you're a wrestling fan, you should be overjoyed that this happened.
Tell them, Brian, why should they be overjoyed?
Because this is proof that wrestling is alive and well and thriving here in 20... Isn't that what you want? What do you want out of your wrestling? You only want WWE? Where do you think... If you only watch WWE and you don't care about any of these indie groups, where do you think that most of your favorite guys came from on WWE television? They came from places like All In. They came from Ring of Honor, New Japan, and these promotions that apparently you don't want to see succeed. That's where your favorites came from. Unless your favorite is Roman Reigns. Yes, he went straight through developmental. So, if you're like a big Roman Reigns WWE fan and you don't like Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles, I mean, the list goes on. And if you don't like those guys, John Cena started out in the indies. So, if the only guy you like is like Roman Reigns and I guess Big Cass and who else, then yeah, you should hope that something like this fails. But if you like the big stars in WWE right now, if you like NXT, you should be over the moon that the indies are as strong as they are right now. Because they will be feeding your WWE at some point. Back in a moment, Wrestling Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Spurs says, impressive they sold 10,000 tickets, but if this show is in large part no good, then it's going to do more harm than good. First off, why? Second off, why would it be no good? You could have the top acts on the indie scene, Ring of Honor, and New Japan all on the show. Do you know what you would have to be? Do you know what you would have to do for this show to be bad? I mean, maybe it's not going to be the best show of the year. You know what? I bet you it's not going to end up being show of the year. But you think it's going to be bad? Don't think it's going to be bad.
It can be a complete mess. It could end up being disorganized. There's lots of things that it could end up being. And I don't even think, to be honest with you, with the amount of people they have there, and obviously there's, people trying to work with each other for the first time and first time promoters and all that stuff. It could fall apart, but I don't even think it's going to do that. But I mean, I think people are really reaching to try to poke holes in this thing. And again, I get you can take digs at it. You can bring up legitimate issues with it that you may have with it, but I mean, really kind of grasping at straws on some of this stuff, just a lot of hating going on. And the only thing I really have to add to any of this, because I know people are going to go bananas over it, probably all week long, probably the entire time in the lead up to Labor Day when it happens, this is good for the guys in that there has probably never been a time, at least in a long time, where talent had the amount of control that they do. Now, it's not absolute. Nobody's starting up their own promotion or anything like that and going to make it work. That's not going to happen. But, I mean, right now, who wags the Ring of Honor dog? I mean, it's the Bullet Club, it's the Young Bucks, it's New Japan. Same thing in New Japan. I mean, to a point, when it comes to their presence in the United States, it's controlled by Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Cody, and a handful of people in some ways individually, when at least it comes to the non-Japanese performers. I mean, it's the performers that now get to pick and choose. Or am I going to work PWG this weekend, or AEW, or Nova, or am I going to work for MLW? I mean, these guys now have options. They have the ability to do things they never have before. So if nothing else, we should really, if you don't love every single person that's being a part of putting this thing on, it's the fact that they're able to put it on without the title of anybody else, no matter if they're getting help from these promotions or not. The fact that these guys are able to put this on, I mean, the more control you can put in the hands of a guy who's supposed to be an independent contractor, I am all for.
Bruce says, Cody and the Bucks are financing the show themselves. It's pretty damn indie. So happy and lucky to get tickets to the show. It is a historic day for pro wrestling. Let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's up?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. So my question is obviously this is a landmark moment within the wrestling community, but what do you think it's going to take, in your guys' opinion, to make this have a huge impact outside of the dedicated wrestling community?
I don't think that's their goal.
But you know what? They got a lot of time now. And I'll say this, there's a lot of smart people involved. It seems like except for me, every podcaster in the world is going to be there in some aspect. I mean, they have so many people in the hardcore wrestling community that are literally all into this thing. That's going to start to filter out. Now, it's not going to get every WWE fan in the world, but as far as anything in this country, more than New Japan, more than anything else that goes on this year, they have the ability to try to reach out to the sports entertainment fan, the sports fan, the general person in Chicago that likes wacky things on the weekend, whatever it would be like. They have a lot of time now to build that. It's on them to do it. It's on them to make the connections in the media. It's on them to maybe utilize a Billy Corrigan or whatever. Utilize everybody that you can to try to get as much attention around this thing as possible. They have the time to do it. So it's kind of really on them to see how far they can go with it.
This person here says, you're absolutely right. A historic day for pro wrestling. Proud to say I'm going to the event. I am all in. Look at how many people we have texting us, by the way, that are going. Well,
yeah, that's just a good sign. That's just a good sign that it's not all... The point of this is, how many texts have I read today? I don't know, half dozen? Yeah.
And many of those people are going to the show. So, the idea that, they didn't really sell any tickets to wrestling fans, the scalpers, it's not true. The wrestling fans are contacting us right now. They all have tickets to this show. This show sold tickets to wrestling fans. It's a record-breaking number of tickets sold to wrestling fans for an independent event. That's just the way things are.
Boss, you got to treat them like kids.
I don't know why people are upset about this. The other thing, too...
You don't have to beat on them.
So, yeah, you do. So, here's the thing. This guy was asking, well, what can you do about, the non-hardcore fans? That's not the goal here, number one. But number two, they, at the press conference, did not announce any details about streaming. They said at this point there is no deal to stream the show. Now, it would have been foolish, prior to tickets going on sale, to announce that the show would be available for $10 via streaming or whatever. You don't announce that until after the tickets are sold out. So, now that all of these tickets are gone, I'm not saying they're going to do a streaming situation for the show, but they should. They absolutely, whether it's New Japan World, Ring of Honor Club, their own streaming deal, whatever, it doesn't matter. But now they should make this available via streaming.
But they will.
And then you can do some promotion and hope that you can get some WWE Network fans that might try it out. Just like New Japan should be doing and just like Ring of Honor should be doing.
Bingo. That's it. And it's expensive to advertise during Raw in a lot of markets and things like that. But the fact that New Japan and ROH don't do that, in ROH, it's not like you don't have the money, backing you up. Now, they may not have in their specific budget, but it's like, why are you not going after these other fans and these mountain of other fans that actually are not your fans? And many of them don't even know you exist, even though they're technically wrestling fans. Why are you not going after them? And hopefully, what Cody and these guys and anybody else involved in this are able to do, and we'll have to see how it goes. I don't want to praise them too early, but I mean, with the way everything has gone, I have the confidence that they are at least going to reach out. They are going to try, because you should go after those fans. I know that's not the point of this thing, and it's about the hardcores, but, aim your shot at the hardcores, but, look to spray with the machine gun if you can and try to get everybody as hyped up about this as possible. I mean, they're going to have a streaming service. If they don't, they're just idiots. I mean, there's no way... If they don't even try, they're complete morons. So, I mean, it's hard for me to believe that they're not going to have that, which is going to drag in a whole bunch of extra revenue there. And then on top of it, again, work the media, work non-hardcore wrestling fans, work everybody you possibly can. You got, what are we at now? We're not even in June yet, for heaven's sakes. You got 4 months. Make it happen. This is the last blowout before you go back to school. Kids in Chicago, hey, guess what? You're going back to school after this. Whatever you have to do, however you have to attach it, try to get everybody involved in this. Make it as a freakish of a show as possible. Why not?
This person here says, just because a special non-WWE show sold 10,000 tickets does not mean the business is healthy. Let's see a non-WWE wrestling show sell 10,000 tickets every week on Mondays. All right, listen, my friend.
How about WWE show that sells tickets to 10?
Hold on.
I mean,
hold on.
Come on.
Hold on.
Why are we doing this?
Because people need to be taught a lesson about the wrestling business in 2018. In the case of WWE, it's not about selling tickets. They're making more money than they've ever made ever in the history of pro wrestling. Now, it's because of television deals, WWE Network, stuff like that, but that's beside the point. They're making more money than they've ever made before. Now, as far as the indies, yes, there's one show that sold 10,000 tickets. But let me tell you something. If you go back in our archives and listen to all of the various interviews that we have done with various promoters over the last year or two, every single one of them will tell you how much bigger indie wrestling is now than it was 3-4 years ago. And on top of that, I was down there for WrestleMania weekend. How many indie shows were there over a 5-day period? 100 or so? Guys are working 5, 6, 7 shows over the weekend. I talked to so many guys over WrestleMania weekend. And there is so much money to be made on the indie scene today. Probably more right now than there has ever been before. I had one guy after another saying, man, I know it's not going to last forever, but it's so great right now.
Feels good.
These guys are making tons of money.
And it's going right in their pocket.
You promote a show, the promoters are making money, the wrestlers are making money, fans are buying tickets, they're buying merchandise, they're buying everything. This is not... I hate to use this term because it's not the same as it was in the 90s, obviously, when it was a boom period for WWF and WCW where you could go to school and your buddies were talking about wrestling. Wrestling was cool. Okay, it's not like that now. However, this is a massive boom period for indie wrestling. It is a massive boom period. If you're involved in indie wrestling, you're making money. You're probably making a lot of money, especially compared to like 3-4 years ago. This is probably the most lucrative time in the history of wrestling to be an indie worker. So, yeah, there aren't indies selling 10,000 tickets every Monday night. You're right. But indies are doing very, very well. Indie wrestlers are doing very, very well. There's a lot of money to be made here. Yes, it's not mainstream. That's okay. Doesn't have to be mainstream.
Nope.
It's geek famous.
Doesn't matter as long as everybody's making money and everybody's happy. And the people that are out there putting money in these people's pockets are happy. Look at Stokely Hathaway, what he's been able to do with social media. And he puts those shirts out there, sometimes for charity, sometimes for his own pocket. But, you got people that are, I don't know how well they sell, but I know he has sold more than a couple of them. And that money goes right into his pocket. And obviously the T-shirt company is going to get some of that. But, it's a direct line now more than ever to where you can support your product and your people easier than ever. So why everybody keeps crapping on this? I have no idea.
Spurt says, luckily I got my ringside tickets to All In. Really impressive how quickly they sold out. September 1 will be historic. Back in a moment, Wrestling Observer Live. Back here in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. And you to the phones. You're on the air. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Bryan? How you doing today?
Very good. What's going on?
I kind of not shocked about this 10,000 seat sell out in less than how long did it took? About 2 hours or less than an hour?
30 minutes. All In, by the way, number 3 trending in the U.S. behind the Cavs and Paul Pierce.
And
that is, boss.
I think of that, and you just proved my point when you say it's trending. Think of it like this. This is like an 8-year pinnacle of an 8-year stretch. And I say 8 instead of 3 and 4, but think about it like this. People like Colt Cabana, the Young Bucks, and the early, I can't say forefathers of using social media to get their product out. Because I go to independent wrestling in my local area, and if there's a good show with 200 to 300 people, that is a great show, even for my friends that promote the product. Think of it like this. So 1,000-seat arena with the people saying, sell it out if they can do it continuously over a year, that over a weekly time, that's not the point. The point is that a show that was building from pretty much, they started promoting this for 6 months. Since late fall of last year, they say they was going to do it. They talk about it, and they was going on different shows from Jericho to Colt Cabana to their own medias talking about this, and they promote that like that, and it took less than 30 minutes to sell out a show in a major city for niche fans. After and this is probably, and this is my first point. My second point is, think of it like this. after we saw probably one of the worst pay-per-views of last week, I think the fans of those Knicks fans was trying to do this as a protest in their own sense, and while showing a good show at the same time about this, just to prove a point to the major company, hence WWE, that we do not have to support your product.
I feel. Look, I hear what you're saying, but not really. You know, it's not like a protest vote. You bought a ticket like as a protest vote. You're not even thinking of WWE. You shouldn't be thinking of WWE. WWE is not thinking of you. I think now more than ever, there's a divide between sports entertainment and pro wrestling. And like I say, pro wrestling is going to be the one that, like, WWE isn't creating fans. Pro wrestling is going to create fans. And it's experiences like this and on the smaller level are what going to get people in, like Bryan and I and you got in 40 years ago when we became wrestling fans. I mean, it's going to be events like this that end up hooking them early because WWE doesn't seem to be doing it right now. And why this show's a success isn't because Backlash was a failure. You know, it's in spite of Backlash. WWE can put on whatever it wants. There are now a group of fans, and it's not as much as WWE. It's not as much as a lot of things. It's not sustainable, probably, long term. But for right now, those fans are spending more money than ever on the stuff that they really want to support, and they're doing it directly. And that's why this is a success. It doesn't really have anything to do with WWE. It's really in spite of WWE that pro wrestling and independent wrestling is continuing to thrive.
I don't think that this show sold out because of Backlash. I think if Backlash had not taken place, it still would have sold out in 30 minutes. But it does make a great story that Backlash was absolutely hideous. Raw did a terrible number. SmackDown did a terrible number. Then they sold 10,000 tickets in 30 minutes.
Well, Bryan, you know what?
I like that story.
John said at the beginning, you know, he talking about going on these radio shows and doing all of this stuff that they've been doing. The, you know, whether you want to call it strategic marketing or just like, you know, letting the snowball go downhill and letting it gather up steam. However you want to look at it, they've been out there humping. They've been out there grinding. They've been out there getting with their fans and making, whether you think it's legit or not, but reaching out to you because we care about you, the wrestling fan, to come see us. We want to be part of all this, and you don't like this person here, we're going to get rid of this person. We're about you. Whereas WWE is the complete antithesis of that. They do go completely opposite that. Oh, you want this? We're going to give you this. You know, you want that? We're going to give you that. The whole point of pro wrestling was you can't give people everything that they want, but you got to give it to them sometimes, and you got to make them feel like they're a part of it. These indies are doing that right now. Now, whether ROH as a company or New Japan as a company makes you feel that way or not necessarily the case. But as far as the wrestlers go, I think a lot of them have that kind of goodwill built up amongst the fan base.
I got to read some of these texts here. With the seemingly high demand, should All In be put on traditional pay-per-view? Normally, I would say, I don't know if the audience is there, but New Japan ran the Tokyo Dome on pay-per-view a couple of years ago at like midnight on, I can't remember what day it was, but a terrible time slot. The January 4th Tokyo Dome. That thing did like 12,000 pay-per-view buys.
It did.
Like, they would make money off 12,000 pay-per-view buys. So, it's not the worst idea. I absolutely... The fact that they promoted well enough that they sold 10,000 tickets with no TV, no commercials, like 4 announced names. I mean, trust me, if you had 4 months worth of promotion for an actual card and angles and everything else, you probably could do 12 to 15,000 on pay-per-view. I'd go all in on pay-per-view.
Well,
maybe I'll fund it.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not anti that, but like it's the distributor that you get, and I think in this day and age, you can put a show on pay-per-view, on traditional pay-per-view, relatively quickly. Now, obviously, you can't advertise and do some other stuff, but if they're starting to feel a groundswell that they think this thing can cross over, and it would be worth putting on traditional pay-per-view, where you are sharing the money and you are putting a lot more out there. Okay, you know, if you think you can do it, but you know. Britt Whitmire, the Katie Vick is Alive podcast, tweeted us, you know, Twitch would be a perfect option. I don't know what Twitch takes, you know, when it comes to taking, you know, some of the money off the top of these events that they stream, but anything where they're going to keep a majority of it and reach the most amount of people, that's what I would do first. Now, again, traditional means, if you're able to do it for a good price and you're able to get enough crossover where it's worth it to you, okay, but you're already outlaying enough of your money, so unless you get somebody to do that for you, I don't know if that's necessarily the tact I would take. I would want just basically a service when it comes to iPay-per-view that doesn't fail miserably, like, unfortunately.
You don't know that till it happens.
But I know, but WWN and ROH,
Their
every
ticket
WrestleMania
site failed miserably today.
That's a problem, and that's my biggest thing is make sure that is completely where you need it to be first before you worry about anything else.
You can't make sure.
But you need
Every
to know
company
with
has had this problem. Even WWE
exactly
Network
right.
had this problem. So go traditional pay-per-view. Then you don't have to worry about the problem.
But
Because it will not fail on traditional pay-per-view.
Yeah, it could.
No.
If whoever's recording it, if you have an issue with that,
Well,
I mean, you can have a blank screen on pay-per-view.
The actual pay-per-view is not going to fail.
Well, that's, again,
Listen,
if
you
you're
have
maximizing your dollars.
you have two potential points of failure if you run an iPay-per-view. You have the problem going from the building, and you have the problem going into someone's house.
Not if you have professionals.
Mike, everybody has professionals.
Okay, Brian.
Everybody has failed.
Okay, I got you. So what satellite team are they bringing in? Are they bringing the NFL Network? Who are they bringing in to make sure that at the show itself, since everybody's got a problem from the show to the satellite, what are you going to do?
Name the last traditional pay-per-view where they couldn't get it up to the satellite.
I don't deal with things
there isn't
can't
one.
Get it up,
okay,
Brian.
It's going to be fine. If they run a traditional pay-per-view, there will not be a problem. If they run an iPay-per-view, there's no way to guarantee there won't be a problem.
You're just like
everybody has tried
all of these haters with the
I'm looking at history.
iPay-per-view.
I'm looking at history.
That then spend the money and get pros and do it right.
Got it up on pay-per-view. Do you understand me? WCW managed to get it up on pay-per-view.
Do it
Heroes
right.
of Wrestling. The Urban Wrestling Federation. Everybody has successfully got it on pay-per-view. But everybody, including WWE, has failed at some point streaming. No matter who they've used.
So don't do it, guys. Don't do it.
No, I'm saying do it on traditional pay-per-view. Or do it on iPay-per-view. But I'm telling you, you're not going to guarantee it's going to work on iPay-per-view. This is just a fact based on history.
You're just shook up this week because of technology.
What are you talking about? This is shook up because of technology.
Yeah.
I'm the one here pushing out everything here has worked out great. And they should run a traditional pay-per-view and sell 15,000 pay-per-view buys. Come out of this with even more money. Not sitting here saying, anyway. The indies are as lucrative.
Take all the money.
The indies, you don't take all the money on iPay-per-view either, dude. And the pay-per-view split is even better today because WWE is off pay-per-view. That's why more people have been running pay-per-view successfully.
And it's also because there's nothing on pay-per-view to run.
Exactly. So now's the time to run and get a better split and make more money.
I said that. Look, everybody's going to make fun of you guys.
The indies are as lucrative as ever, this person says. Look at how people WWE released. Emma, Ellsworth, they're booked on indie shows every single weekend.
Are we using those two as the best examples?
No, the point is anybody that was released from WWE is doing every single weekend.
Man, that hurts Ellsworth's feelings with that now.
I think Ellsworth is great, but Ellsworth was not Roman Reigns. He's still getting booked every single weekend. James Ellsworth will tell you, I wasn't Roman Reigns. I'm booked every single weekend. Another person here.
He was booked every weekend before. It's just, I'm sure his rate went up a lot.
Amazing they sold that amount with no TV commercials. This person here says, the anti-WWE crowd is very popular right now. The F Vince chant broke out during the All-In is proof of this. Yeah, those same people would buy a ticket to Raw and they would bow to Vince McMahon, so don't give me that.
Can we stop with F Vince chant? I mean, like, why do you care about them? Who cares? Why don't you chant for the people that are there? Chant for Barry the bear and Pharaoh the dog. And by the way, you see Pharaoh the dog is making an appearance?
This person here says, streaming it live might be tough with Pentagon, Phoenix, ROH, and New Japan guys. No. There's tons of shows that stream with ROH, New Japan, Phoenix, Pentagon. Pentagon won the Impact title on traditional pay-per-view, for crying out loud.
Things are weird now.
They could make this work.
They're weird.
Bert says, I saw the Bucks first in Philly a few years ago. They've been hustling forever. I am legit proud. A great time to be a fan.
God, I remember when somebody said they should sign with WWE, how dumb they are for not doing it. I can't remember who that person was.
Who was it, Mike?
It was you, boy.
Yeah, you know what? If they're as good at hustling, they'd be making more money now in WWE. That's just a fact. If AJ Styles were out in the indie scene right now, he'd be maybe the top guy in the indie scene, He's making more in WWE. If Daniel Bryan leaves in September, he'll be the biggest star in the Indies. He's going to make more in WWE.
Sometimes money's not everything.
You're right, Mike. Sometimes money isn't everything. But guess who's signing with WWE that you said didn't need to sign?
Who's that?
Got my all-in tickets here, Section 209 from Germany here. I'm flying to the States for the all-in weekend. What's her face? Forget her name. Toni Storm. Yeah, she's going to WWE.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did. We had this big argument about Toni Storm, and you said it's not about money. She wants to do other things, blah, blah, blah. She's going to WWE now.
Well, we were
making the money.
talking about it, why she didn't sign it first, and some of the reasons why, and there was the thing with Stardom and everything else, that, yeah, she didn't have to go right away. She doesn't have to go now. Nobody has to go.
Of course no one has to go. She's going to make the money because she's going to make the money. This person here says, guys, Swift from Brooklyn, for this all-in show to be bad, it would have to be run by WWE. Well, you don't have to worry about that.
Well, and let's not, I mean, hey, look, there's been plenty of smart people to make dumb mistakes. So, I mean, it could happen. It's just, I think anybody that is predicting doom this far out at this point with everything that's gone on, I mean, I guess those people you're just not going to make happy no matter what.
Bert says, why would they have to try to promote to any other fans in the area? They have no more tickets to sell. A lot of people like myself that tried to get tickets couldn't.
Because wrap more of the weekend around it. Can you make a 3-day spectacular out of this? I mean, Conrad Thompson's already doing that. This website is actually, well, not Sports Byline, depending on how you're listening, but the Figure 4 website.
Yeah, but they're not getting any cut of this.
No, they're not getting any cut, but the fact that you're able to go and do a Q&A, the fact that all of these other events are going to take place, that's why you do it. You just want to just excite and energize the area. And if it's one more T-shirt you sell, if it's one more piece of merch, if it's anything like that, why would you leave it on the table?
This says that guy's an idiot. The Vince chants were for Vince Russo. I won't even read this one. Back in a moment, Wrestling Observer Live. Well, we may as well make everybody angry right before we go off the air here. Not everybody.
Uh-oh.
We'll make you-know-who angry.
Uh-oh.
Last check on StubHub, 10,000 tickets were sold. There are 200 tickets available on StubHub, like I'd mentioned earlier. For SummerSlam, with 13,600 tickets put on sale, there are 4,400 on the secondary market.
It's not a good percentage there.
Man, I wonder how that will be spun. Thankfully, I'll be off the air. Maybe by tomorrow, everybody will have calmed down. I know it's very painful for some people for this show to have been a success. I still don't quite understand why. But it's the internet, so everybody has to be in pain about something. And I guess today it shall be all in. But there you go. We'll talk more about this tomorrow. Raw, very quickly, we've got a Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens match for the Intercontinental title, both of whom came up in Ring of Honor. So there wouldn't even be this match if they had not been there. Might add that right there. So that's coming up. And then Tuesday, New Day versus Cesaro and Sheamus will decide another Money in the Bank participant with one member of the winning team joining the men's ladder match. So my guess would be that the New Day is going to win. So one of the three will be in the men's ladder match, probably Big E. And then, when they announce the tag team ladder match, the New Day can also be in the tag team ladder match. So that seems to work out. So we got that, and obviously a lot more to talk about tomorrow. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. I'll be back later tonight with Vinny. NWA World Championship Wrestling 30 years ago. I think we're in 1987, actually, a little more than 30 years, but check that out. Thanks, Mike, as always. Callers and listeners, everybody in the studio, we'll talk to you next time. Wrestling Observer Live.